Alright guys, just want to do a quick follow-up video on the YouTube short that I had originally made about this retro gaming machine. As you can see, it is up and running. Got to set all the BIOS configurations, but this is the really neat retro machine. It has this Lost in Space LCD. It's got a working cigarette lighter with ashtray. It's got one of those hard drives that you can remove that has a lock and a key. We used to have those back in the day also. This one is circa 2005. And now just real quick, I'm going to show you what the problem with this was. These machines, and I'm familiar with this because I was a gamer back in the day, and this is a really heavy heat sink. These were really cool back then. We'd seen nothing like them, but it is really heavy. And the gentleman who brought this to me, he had this either custom built or had found it that somebody had custom built online, and he really wanted it, I believe, for nostalgia reasons. So he wanted it, and it was shipped from far away. And in a second, you'll see what I think what caused the problem. It wouldn't post. Post is the power on self-test, and it wouldn't do that. It wouldn't beep. It wouldn't do anything. I tried it with no video cards, with a different video card, tested the RAM, the whole 9 yards. Finally, I took this thing off, this big heavy heat sink, and it turns out the problem was, look at all of the pins. Look at all these pins. They're totally just bent. So I live out here in Texas, and my client is local to me, and a lot of times when we get things shipped here, it comes from a long ways away because we're right in the middle of the country, and a lot of things are coming from one coast or the other. This computer was probably sitting on its side, and as it was traveling, and all those little bumps and bruises, see, these aren't real tight. They're not loose, but there's enough flex for this thing just to be hopping up and down. And as it was hopping up and down, it eventually was pulling, the suction of having heat sink thermal compound on this, pulled it out of the socket. So when I took the thing apart, this was no longer in the socket, even though the little lever was in the locked position. And so it just popped out and was just mashing and mashing on it. So we were able to source another chip. This is the best chip in its class. It was a AMD, the last of the 939 series, and it was the top of the line one, so there was only like 3 available on the internet. One of them was $400. I believe he got this one for a little less than $200 for this really old chip, but the machine, it's built to a certain spec. This is the Ferrari of its day, or the Lamborghini, whichever camp you're in there. Anyways, so there is this machine, and it is up and running. I'm happy, and I'm sure that my client is going to be a happy camper once I get this back to him later today.